to Eternal Easy Education. In this session, you are going to learn Chapter 17, E-Commerce Security Systems. Content of this video is: what is e-commerce security, what are the e-commerce security threats, and what is the dimension of e-commerce security. First one, what is e-commerce security? E-commerce security is a set of protocols. Set of protocols means the rules and regulations that safely guide e-commerce transaction through the internet. So we are going to know the rules or the formats which should be followed while doing the transaction in the internet for the e-commerce. Types of e-commerce threats. So what are the threats we are going to face while we are transacting the things in e-commerce through the internet? Information leakage, tampering, payment fraud, malicious code threats, distributor denial of service, cyber squatting, and typo piracy. So let's see one by one what are the things. So this is our chapter 17 e-commerce security system. So now we are going to see the types of e-commerce threats. Since e-commerce is based on information technology and computer networks, without this e-commerce is not possible. It inevitably faces a series of security issues compared with the traditional business. E-commerce security threats can be accidental or intentional. That means, as we know, technology is making us more convenient and also making us exposed to more dangerous parts. That means while we are transacting the things through the internet, we must have a security that this transaction is confidential and it is done without the intervention of anyone, any third party. If we are communicating a fund transfer or a tender information to one company to other company, it must be very confidential, or else many people will break the transaction. That means they will take the data from one company and they will misuse it. So all these threats, all these things should be avoided. As we know that it should be avoided, here we are going to see some of the threats. So which are all going to be the threat, or which are all going to be the question mark to have a safe transaction. So in which are the things we must be very careful. So we are going to see these things. So first one is information leakage. The leakage of trade secrets in e-commerce mainly include two aspects. So in two aspects, the secret information of a company can be moved to other people. The content of the transaction between the vendor and the customer is stolen by the third party. Another one is the documents provided by the merchant to the customer or vice versa are illegally used by others. Yes, first the information is taken. Next, the document is illegally used by other people. We may heard many things apart from e-commerce while we are sending our mark statements or any other certification. Many people are misusing the certificates. Some places, even in the place of where we are taking the photocopy, that means in the Xerox machine we are taking the photocopies of certificates, there also they are taking the data. So the theft of the information is taking place in many aspects. Here we must be very careful because the transaction is through internet. We may think that we are having an email ID and that person is also having an email ID with the password, so it is secured. But actually it is not secured in some times. It is not always, but there is always a group of people who are willing to break the security base and they want to take the data. So these things here we have to be careful. Be careful means we cannot do anything, as the technology has to provide the security for this place. So first thread is the information can be stolen or it may be misused. That is said to be information leakage. Next threatening is tampering. E-commerce has a problem of authenticity and the integrity of business information. When hackers grasp the data transmitted on the network, it can be falsified into the middle through various technical means. That means we are thinking that we are giving the data with the authentication. That means the username, password, and the privilege control. Only this person has the rights to take the data. Only the manager is having the privilege to delete a record. Likewise, we can have some hierarchy, but even though there is a authenticity, that means the username, password security and privilege security, but there are hackers who will break these things and they are destroying the authenticity and integrity of the data. This is said to be tampering. Next one is payment frauds. Payment fraud means payment frauds have subsets like friendly fraud. Friendly fraud means when the customer demands false reclaim or refund. Another one is clean fraud, when a stolen credit card is used to make a purchase. So the payment fraud means someone is asking us to pay pretending to be a known person. Sometimes they will take our credit card and use it clearly. So this type of payment theft is said to be payment fraud. Triangulation fraud, that means fake online shops offering cheapest price and collect the credit card data. So this is also another type of fraud. So just like the Amazon or in the Flipkart, there will be another online shopping site which looks like a high tech, and they are giving the offer as a product of 1000 rupees is given for 200 rupees just for a light deal or for a offer. So we feel that it is a good deal to get 1000 rupees worth thing for 200 rupees. So we will try to purchase it. So they will easily ask for the credit card details. So as we think that it is safe and we will provide the details in the website, but it is stolen by someone else. So this is said to be payment fraud. Another one is malicious code threads. Within an e-commerce site, there are multiple vulnerable areas that can serve as an intrusion point for a hacker to gain payment and user information. What does this mean? For example, if you are in Paytm or Amazon, while we are purchasing a thing, it will ask for, are you selecting a credit card or a debit card or net banking or UPI payment? So it will ask for the options. So if we select internet banking, then it will direct to the bank. Then it will ask you to select a bank. If we select SBI, State Bank of India, then it will take the link to the State Bank of internet banking site. Sometimes the hackers will have a code that they will direct the link to their own site. While we are providing our username and password, they will crack the information. It is not happening often, but it's happening in sometimes. So the hackers are very much interested to break the site. So the State Bank or any internet banking have provided two options. One is they will say don't redirect or refresh the site while you are doing a transaction. Another one, if it is a long-term process, that means if the time expires, it will say the session is signed out as it is taking too much of time. So they are also giving some restrictions, even though the hackers are very much interested to break the rule. So they use some of the techniques like using malware, cross-site scripting or SQL injection. An attacker will extract the credit card information and sell the acquired data on black market. So while we are using a e-commerce site, if our information is taken by the hackers, then it is said to be the malicious code thread. But using the coding, they are taking the information, but we were unaware of it because we cannot identify the difference between the fake code and the original code. Fraud is committed to extract the greatest value possible through e-commerce transaction or ATM withdrawals, etc. So the code thread means giving a false code of type and threading our data and taking our data from the site. Distributed denial of service, that is DDoS. We have discussed this topic earlier. It is a process of taking down an e-commerce site by sending continuous overwhelming requests to its server. That means this best example is while you try to get your result, when the 12th standard result in the site, we may come across the error like the site is busy. It will happen because at the time many people will log into the particular site to get the 12th standard result. It happens 1 or 2 times for 5 minutes, but purposely they will do. They means the person who is trying to destroy the site, they will purposely send a continuous overwhelming request to the server. That means always making the site to be busy, and it stops the transaction through the site. It will lead to big loss for a very big companies. If the transaction is not happening for 1 hour, it will lead to a loss and also lead to a bad name to the site. So this type of disturbance is threat, that is DDoS threat. This attack will be conducted from numerous identified computers using botnet. This botnet and DDoS I have discussed already in previous chapters. This attack will slow down and make the server inoperative. So this is their goal. They want to make the site to be hanged. And this is also called network flooding. The next one is cyber squatting. That is illegal practice of registering an internet domain name that might be wanted by another person in an intention to sell it later for profit. So cyber squatting means, for example, if there is a company like global warming, I am giving an example. If they want this domain name as www.globalwarming.com, they will register the name and they will demand the person to give some amount to give the domain name to them. So it involves the registering of popular trademarks and trade names as domain names before the particular company do. Cyber squatters also involve in trading on the reputation and goodwill of such third parties by including a customer. So for inducing a customer to believe that it is an official web page. So the fake page, you might have heard many things in the Twitter. It is not my page, someone has created. Likewise, a particular important website page is created in fake. That is cyber squatting. Then typo-piracy. Typo-piracy is a variant of cyber squatting. Some fake websites try to take advantage of users' common typographical error in typing a website address. For example, think that www.google.com, Google. This is the normal spelling. Am I right? If we type in mistake 3 instead of 2O, if you type 3O, it will lead to some other site. So such people try to take advantage of some popular website to generate accidental traffic for their websites. So these things are included with the cyber security, that is e-commerce security threats. So these are the things where we suffer a lot to have our security in the e-commerce transaction. One is while we do a mistake in typo piracy, then voluntarily they will take the domain name and demand for the amount, and voluntarily making the site busy to make its transaction hang, then making some code to hack or to take the information from the site, and giving a payment fraud, like taking the information from the site by giving fake advertisement, and also destroying the authenticity, that is the username, password, privilege, permissions by the hackers, and also stolen the information from the site. These are the important security threats. So while we transact information from one company to another company through the internet, these things are faced by each company. So how to safeguard this and how to avoid this? So we learned the threats. Now, dimensions of e-commerce security. So how it could be secured? What are the dimensions? In which are the aspects it should be secured? One is authenticity, availability, completeness, confidentiality, effectiveness, integrity, non-repetition, privacy, reliability, and review availability. So on these dimensions, the e-commerce transaction should be secured. As the security issue is the most worrying issue of e-business, ensuring the security of e-commerce activities has become core research field for e-commerce. Each day there is a research, or there is a thing to learn for the security of e-commerce transaction. So what are the elements to be taken care while doing a transaction? One is authenticity, confirming genuineness of data shared. Next, availability, prevention against data delay or removal. That is, while we transact, it should be cleared whether the two companies are there, whether the bank accounts are available. These things should be checked. Then completeness, unification of all business information. If there is multiple or concurrent requests, then it should be completed one by one. Confidentiality, protecting data against unauthorized disclosure. So if data is requested by someone, it should be protected. It should be cleared whether it is from an authorized dealer or not. Then effectiveness, effective handling of hardware software data. So the hardware and the software related with the e-commerce should be handled effectively. That means it should be given a pakka training. Then integrity, prevention of the data being unaltered and modified. That means while we are transferring the data, we must have a confidence that it is not changed or it is not modified while transferring. Non-repetition, prevention against violation agreement after the deal. For example, you may see many things. If you enter a website, they will ask, we will take our content from the cookies, but we swear that we will not use it for any other illegal things. If it's so, it should be maintained like that. That means our username, password, or our profile picture should not be shared to anyone. Then privacy, prevention of customers' personal data being used by others. For example, if a cell phone servicing company is getting our Aadhaar card or our address proof for the SIM activation, that these data should be protected. That is the privacy. It should be protected by them. That is their own risk of prevention. They should have that ethics to do that. Then reliability, providing a reliable identification of the individuals or business. That means while all the things are in internet, each one should be identified. Just like the student is having the roll number, these are individual companies which are in the transaction should also have an identification. Then review ability, capability of monitoring activities to audit and track the operation. That means as it is a commerce, there will be credit and debit. So all the things should be possible for maintaining, for the auditing. As we know, those who are with a criminal knowledge, or those who are having a negative thought of paying income tax, they will have a pakka software for hiding their actual income from the government. So these things also should be avoided. So these are the dimensions on which basis the security should be given to the e-commerce transactions. So as it is a theory paper, it looks like to be dry, but it is a scoring paper, so easily you can remember the things for the 5-mark question. So this dimensions of e-commerce security is a 5-mark question. Here they are given some information about hacking. Hacking refers to unauthorized intrusion into a computer or a network. That is to say, breaking security to gain access to a website illegally. So many times we will hear that hackers have taken the control of some important VIP's Twitter account or their Facebook account, like that. They would then misuse such information to their advantage or modify and even destroy its content to harm the computers. Then what is a ransomware? Ransomware is a type of malware that usually encrypts all the files in a target computer and threatens to publish the critical data unless a ransom money is paid. So this is the important. First one, breaking the security and taking the data, and they will demand for the amount. The amount is ransom. So they will demand for the amount to not to leak the content to the other person. So this is said to be ransomware. So we have learned the 2 topics. So what are the e-commerce threat and what are the dimensions of e-commerce security? That's all for this session. Thank you. Have a good day.